let's talk about Defend the North. For those of you that don't know, Defend the North, which is a tournament out of the East Coast, produced by Pi City of Brass and Lord Arturo and a bunch of other people, was the first tournament to be fully run on PC. Well, not the first tournament, but the first big regional tournament to be run on PC. They were able to get a sponsorship from MSI USA, which is a computer company. MSI USA provided monitors and laptops, from what I understand. Brooks, the board and adapter company, was also involved in providing the adapters for the controllers, which made everything smooth. And Arturo did his seeing the Matrix crazy optimization so that everything everybody played was in 144 hertz in the lowest latency possible. I think he measured Soul Calibur 6 was running at 2 frames of latency. Same thing with Tekken. So quite a feat. And the fact that this was the first big tournament to go for it is very, very important. And I believe it will help shape the future of the FGC. What does this mean? The optimization that Arturo set up was, again, 144 hertz, lowest latency possible, using MSI and Brooks Gaming stuff without having a large amount of funding, right? This is, again, like Pi City of Brass's tournament over in the East Coast. They don't have the budget that big events like CEO, Combo Breaker, Evo have, right? They have a very, very limited budget. And the fact that they were able to get every single station and every single setup with a laptop running at these super optimal settings proves that the big worry about running PC tournaments is not affordable or anything else is no longer an issue, right? As long as you have the support from the right people, and as long as you have somebody like Arturo manning the spearheading the project, it is a possible. So big ups to Arturo and everybody over at Defend the North. Now, this is the last match of Street Fighter V at Defend the North. Saying it's low budget is this. So Olsen is saying it's low budget is disingenuous when MSI was a hardware sponsor. Well, true, but I think the point is that with the correct sponsor, it is possible for any tournament with any budget, right? So there it is, IDOM versus Kudo, grand finals, and IDOM taking the big win, the big dub, as it were. But something that I thought was very interesting was with older players having experiences prior to what we experience today with HD TVs, with HDMI, and all this other stuff, right? I feel like that type of play style is extremely different to what we experience today. So with something like this, where it's going back to the more responsive, the more reactive type of play, is this an advantage to the older players, the legacy players, right? And I asked this and I posed this because we look at some of the other tournaments that happened. Spirogen, the god Spirogen, I'm a huge fan of Spirogen. He taught me Tekken when he came here to Austin for Austin Comic Con, when Tekken 7 was just traveling with Comic Con and wasn't out yet. We sat down and played a couple long sets. He was super cool with giving me a lot of information about Tekken. And I can confidently say, if it wasn't for him, I would not have participated in Tekken as much as I have in my FGC career and will in the future. So big ups to Spirogen. Spirogen taking the win for Tekken, and Father Ramon taking the win for Soul Calibur 6. Right? So is this a thing where all of a sudden, because we have 144 hertz, extremely low latency, timings are going to be different. The game feel is going to be different. Is there going to be a subset of the FGC that's going to thrive in this environment more so than the environment we're seeing today? I think that's an interesting thing to dive into. And obviously, one tournament is not going to not going to determine whether that's true or not. So who knows? Olsen is saying he doesn't think so because IDOM won. True. It is a net benefit for everyone. I 100% agree. The Zoomer with unlimited time and bottomless resources, I think, will be better. Still to be seen, right? This is the first big experiment of this kind, right? So we'll see what happens, as it were. But the games do change, and I think it'll be very interesting to see if any other tournaments decide to go down this route now that an experiment like this has been done and has, I think, arguably, we can say it succeeded, right? Because there were lots of tournaments, complete tournaments. There seems to be not too many issues, right? Except for, like, you know, Smash.gg went down during the tournament. I expect Sakonoko to win everything or eat my shoe. I was watching Sako's stream the other day, and he was playing Project Winter, I think, which is, like, not a fighting game. So, but hey, he's living his best life. Now, one of the big issues that happened, and it is an issue that has happened before, specifically this year, specifically because of Twitch, was ads. There were some ad issues because of the Twitch ad incentive during Defend the North. Issues like an ad running right when Grand Finals was ending. So a lot of people who aren't subscribed to Arturo did not get to see the end of the Grand Finals for Street Fighter V. And that is extremely unfortunate. And a lot of people were pissed off at Art, but I don't think Arturo is the one to be pissed off at. The arguments that have been happening are, yes, you could manually manage the ads so that they don't ruin a Grand Finals. That's absolutely true. However, keep in mind, Arturo's already, like, busting his ass, right? He's, like, making sure all the setups work. He's making sure all this shit runs smooth. Unfortunately, we didn't have somebody managing ads, right? Which is a new thing. Is the upgrade worth the costs for the tournament? I don't know. I don't know Pi City of Brass. I don't know, like, what the financials look like for the tournament as far as, like, costs and all that. But I think if you look at the end product of it, the streams and the player experiences, I think that's arguably a success, right? But getting back to the ad thing, you know, this is something that we talked a little bit about before, is that Twitch is really starting to push these ads and having these ad incentives that pay extremely well, right? But it's at the cost of a viewer experience. If this situation, I feel like this is such a dark, slippery slope for Twitch, because there's going to be a breaking point, right? Where ads are going to interrupt the viewer experience so much that people are going to move platforms, right? I think the way they're doing it now is completely unfeasible. There's too many ads, not enough. There's too many ads, and it completely ruins the long form nature of a show, right? So, for example, earlier this month, I had an ad incentive where I had to run, I think it was 3 minutes of ads every hour. And I believe that's probably what Arturo had as well. So every hour, on the hour, 3 minutes of ads, right? I remember back to when we were streaming the beta, where I would start a match, I would be in the middle of a match, and I would look over, and I'd be in the middle of an ad, right? And then the viewer count would start to drop. That sucks. That's stupid. Now, obviously, the answer to this is subscribe to the streamer so you don't see the ads. Subscribe to Twitch Turbo. It's $9 a month. If you go to twitch.tv/turbo, you can subscribe to that and you don't get any ads on the website. Granted, we don't know how long that's going to be there for at this point. It's frustrating. It's frustrating that Twitch is kind of going down this way. The reason being, of course, Twitch is the website with the leading metric in watch time, right? When you have a streamer streaming for 6 hours and you have like 10,000 people watching, you know, that's what, like 60,000 hours watched, right? These ad incentives are not mandatory. But the money's good, right? Like the way they're made through an algorithm. So what it is they'll give you an ad density that is correlated to your payout. So you have the option of running 1 minute of ads, you have the option of running 90 seconds of ads, and you have an option to run 3 minutes of ads. They're mandatory if you want to put food on the table. Exactly. Especially after Twitch did away with the 7:30 partner split, right? For those of you that don't know, in the before times, as in before a couple of weeks ago, Twitch had certain contracts that would split each subscription into 70-30, where the streamer would earn 70% of each subscription and Twitch would take 30. That is gone. Twitch did away with that, right? Now it's everybody is 50-50. And Twitch does this and says something like, we're all in this together. And then makes everybody run shitty ads. You could tell I think you could tell I'm a little bit heated about it. Bad decisions on bad decisions. I don't blame Art. And I think the people who are blaming Art are not correct to do so. This is an added thing that we have to worry about. This was an issue at Evo, right? Where Evo had to run Twitch ads on top of their sponsored ads, right? So you would have one match and then have 9 minutes of ads and then watch another match and then have 20 minutes of ads or whatever, right? So it's a tricky situation. It's a tricky situation, and it's something that is evolving extremely fast, and I think it's going to take a couple of tries for us in the FGC and for the people who run tournaments and tournament broadcasts to find a suitable solution that doesn't involve people watching 20 minutes of ads or interrupting or like completely ruining the viewer experience. Yeah. Olsen and I were at Evo together. Blue, our producer, and our other producer, PB Tuft, were also there. And yeah, we would watch 2 matches, and then we would just, like, they would just throw the will it kill down our throats. I think it got to a point where they were like kind of repeating them too, which is, yeah. And for those of you that don't remember our post-Evo show, Steve put it together that Mortal Kombat ran for like 5 hours because of those ad breaks. So, yeah. But, at the end of the day, I trust Rick. Rick definitely looked into it and tried to make the experience as best he could once he found out that was an issue. Same thing with the Art. We found out this was an issue. Next time, I'm hoping it'll be better. 4 hours, sorry. 4 or 5 hours doesn't matter at that point. I feel like once you get past 3, it just all blurs together. The landscape of Twitch changing has affected our tournament. Hopefully, we'll be able to find a suitable solution for it in the near future. Olsen was at Climax, so he missed all of it. I heard a lot of really good things about Climax of Night. I unfortunately was not able to watch because I was in between a lot of things and watching Defend the North. Blue was also at Climax, and you guys got together. Sick. Good to know. Shanchi says, I know it wasn't their fault, but I lost interest due to Start GG downtime. Yeah, I did hear about the Start GG downtime, and that's unfortunate. And again, like, that's another thing where it's completely out of the control of the people who are running the tournament, and that is unbelievably frustrating. So I really do feel for them for that. That sucks. It really does. That's it for Defend the North and the, what I would argue, successful first big PC only regional tournament in the FGC. Animate Sam has redeemed the press the button. So we're gonna press the button. Which clip is it gonna be?
At one point in time, largely considered, he was second place last year to Luffy in Evolution. And at that point in time, he was one of those players that was considered maybe the greatest player on the planet.
Yeah, it really seemed like that.
And since then, his success has been a little bit lessened, but he is still a threat, still a very, very strong player. But his opponent is... Who's his opponent? Who's his opponent? We hear the music, but where is his opponent? on stage, Dominion. Mr. Kevin Landon of New York City.
Nobody saw it.
Oh, man. Dude, Base Monster was such a good channel, man. Thank you for redeeming the press the button reward there. We only have 2 clips left for this go around, so let's pace it out, right? We have just one more topic, and then we can go crazy with it. Or you can do whatever you want. You guys have the power. I just have the button. And I have to bend to your will on this one.